What is up, my Baltimore people? Today I wanted to do a more positive list and give some action steps that people could take that don't cost them much, if any, money, and could help turn Baltimore around one little small action at a time. A lot of people get overwhelmed with the problems like crime, and mostly crime, but crime and abandoned homes, drug abuse, the failing school system, and it's easy to think what can I do in this grand scheme of things. But the truth is, cities can be made a heck of a lot better with a series of small positive actions on the part of individual people. So, without further ado, here's my list of like 7 or 8 things that everybody could do today or this year that would make Baltimore a better place. First one is prepare for and vote in local elections, and really emphasize the prepare for part, because just voting doesn't do anybody any good if you're just a brainwashed drone who believes everything the TV tells you. You really need to understand what the issues are, what the candidates' stances are, how they plan to address these issues, and which ones are incompetent and corrupt, and which ones are, really mean well and have the experience and background to make good on their promises. The next one, and this one's, it's sad that I even have to say this, but don't throw trash on the ground. It's so common in big cities like Baltimore and that trash heap Philadelphia and other places like that, where people are so down on their city and don't care about their surroundings, and they just throw their trash on the ground. I mean, there's neighborhoods in Baltimore where if you spend 10 minutes, you'll see multiple people just eating lunch and then throwing the trash on the ground. And it's like, it's not gonna change the world if you throw your trash in the trash can. But if every single person, or if 50% of people in a neighborhood throw their trash on the ground, it's not a shock that that neighborhood is going to look like a pile of trash. Like, it's pretty straightforward, and obviously this doesn't apply to everybody, but it's a simple, easy thing. And you can take this one step further, and just care about your surroundings. If there's small things you can do, you don't have to spend tons of money to fix things up, or you know build new fancy houses or anything like that, but just maintaining a generally neat area is huge for it does all kinds of good things. And the opposite is bad for all kinds of reasons. So, next one, visit a different neighborhood in the city. Baltimore is known as a city of neighborhoods. There's over close to 200 unique neighborhoods. And the truth is, a lot of people never leave the neighborhood that they live in. If you live in Fed Hill, chances are pretty good that you're not going to be spending much time in Rosemont, and vice versa. If you live in Fells Point, you're probably not going to be spending much time in Park Heights. But if you choose to live in the city, you might as well experience all the city has to offer. Not to mention, you can patronize businesses in other areas, you can meet people in different areas. It just helps a lot of things and makes it a more cohesive city if you have people that don't just stay in their little bubble, but rather branch out and experience new things. The next one, and this is kind of a piggyback on the last one, but meet your neighbors. If you chose to live in the city, you're choosing to live in close proximity to thousands and thousands of people. So why wouldn't you want to meet your neighbors? This has a lot of positive benefits. It builds community, and it makes people can look after one another, and it can even help on the crime side of things if people have a good understanding of who their neighbors are, who it's typical to see in a neighborhood, who it's not typical to see, who's out of place, things like that. It can have a huge positive impact. The next one is to support local non-chain businesses. These small businesses are the reason why people think cities are interesting and suburbs are boring. It's, nobody wants to go to, you live in a place like Baltimore because you want options that are not Applebee's and Chili's. Nothing wrong with Applebee's and Chili's, but these businesses only do well if the local people support their businesses. And at the end of the day, they oftentimes offer better product than these big chain businesses do anyways, so you might as well, it's a win-win. The last thing, well, second to last thing, honorable mention, not really, well, not really one of my ones that was originally on this list, but go to an Orioles game or go to a Ravens game. Support your local sports teams. This year in particular, the Orioles are good, and for 10, 15 bucks, you can get yourself an upper deck left field ticket, catch a ball game, and that does a lot of good in terms of, it presents the city well when there's a full stadium. You may support local businesses in the area on your way to or from the game. The stadium itself supports hundreds of jobs, and not just high-paid baseball players, but the grounds crew and the maintenance people and the food vendors and all kinds of jobs. So by supporting something like the Orioles, you're really doing a lot to support the city itself.